You guys are leaving.
We want to leave.
Say it with chest, bro. We're leaving.
We are leaving.
How's it going, guys? It's Nasipi Zwane back with another episode of Sludging Around podcast. And yeah, today I've got an amazing band for you, as you always do on Sludging Around. But before I introduce the guys, we are reporting live from Platts, all the way in Hillcrest. And yeah, we're about to have ourselves a really good time just getting to know the band that I'm about to interview. 3 of the guys pulled through today, which is also a first. I've never really experienced it before. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what actually comes of this sort of setup. So with me today, I've got obviously the Rocc Lobsters, one of the most exciting bands, obviously in Durban. And yeah, I feel like we're actually privileged to have you guys, be a band from Durban. I think the energy that you guys bring and just the excitement, the sound, no one is doing what you guys are doing at the moment. So I'd like you guys to, before we touch on everything that you guys do, each band member introduce themselves to the people that are watching at home, and we'll take it from there.
First of all, I want to say it feels like we are the privileged ones here to be on your show, so thank you very much for having us. I'm Jordan. I play guitar for the Rocc Lobsters, and yeah, 1 or 2 other things here and there, but mostly guitar.
I'm Dylan. I am on drums for the Rocc Lobsters, as some of you will know.
I am Evan, the bass man. Some may call me Bassman Ev. And today, unfortunately, our lead man, front man, Yassine, couldn't be with us, but he is a crucial part of our operation that we have going on here. And shout out and all the love to him.
Yeah, that is really epic, guys. And as I said, one of the things that I commented on, before we started with the introductions was just the energy and the vibes that you guys bring. I always feel like you always get bands that are sort of musically just good, but then there's no personality to it in a way. You guys you are the show, you guys' presence and everything. So how do you guys actually go about that? Is this something that you plan out in terms of the band image, how you guys carry yourselves, the energy that you guys bring, or is it just a natural occurrence type vibe?
I think it's a blend of all of that. We do coordinate a couple aspects of our appearance, the vibe that we give off. Our number one goal when we go up to play a show, for example, is to entertain. At the end of the day, it's not just about playing a show, but we got to go up there and have a good time and make sure that we're having the best time we can, so that everyone else is also doing the same thing. So yeah, I mean, we do, like I said, a lot of coordination and stuff, and yeah, at the end of the day, like, performing is our passion. So the music is part of that, but at the end of the day, yeah, we're performers.
I love what you said there when you said, performing is your guys' passion. What sort of makes an amazing performance? If you're going to be going to a crowd, they're going to be there for you. How do you make sure that, they get their money's worth?
For me, a biggie personally is crowd interaction. Like getting involved with the crowd, making sure that people feel like they're a part of your show. They're not just watching, they're not just observing. People are, they get to sing along to the tunes. We try to interact and get people to sing with us and, create some harmonies with us. And being real, being authentic on stage. If we're having a good time and we're feeling the bop or whatever, like, we're going to show that. We're not just going to stand up there and, like, play our thing. Yeah, entertaining is it.
I think it comes very naturally for all of us in the band, and it's something that we have been told to focus on and push on, like, further, because for a lot of bands, their musical gifts that they put forward is often not enough to get the crowd really enjoying what's going on, so sometimes you can be lacking in the musical department and really show up in the, like, performance aspect of it. And yeah, I think that's a big part of what we do, is we are able to, like, really show up. Actually, we do it in both, like, the musical aspect and then, like, crowd interaction and stuff, just to get people really feeling the vibe and really enjoying, like, their time with us. So yeah, as Jordan says, when we love it, the crowd loves it, right? And I think that's just a central part of what we do.
Tell me about the name, guys. How did you guys come up with it? It's very unique. It's the first I'm hearing of this sort of vibe, so yeah.
So yeah, the name came from Jordan and I. We are actually related. We are brothers. We're brothers. Yeah. And like, music and has always been a part of our lives, not so much as us, like, playing it, more like singing and just listening to good music. And our grandfather was a big aspect of this, our late grandfather, and he suggested if you guys have started a band, you call yourselves the Rocc Lobsters, and
only play when the tide is high.
only play when the tide is high. So yeah, this whole project, just like came about, and we were like, what are we gonna call it? And the Rocc Lobsters just stuck. So it had to be the one, you know.
And you, obviously, you guys are brothers, and we touched on this a bit before we started recording. You guys are related to Casey as well, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Casey.
Shout out to our cousin Casey.
Shout out to Casey. I mean, yeah, guys, looking at the fact that you guys are really good when it comes to, you know, giving out a live performance. You know, you've got the image down, you've got, you know, the music on lock. What is the vibe in Durban for you guys personally? What's your experience like with the Durban crowd and such?
Yo.
It's a bit touchy.
So Durban's an interesting one. If you catch Durban in the right time, if you catch the right bits of Durban, it can be one of the most beautiful experiences. I mean, take Splashy Fen for example. That is one of the most beautiful crowds you can play to, and I think the majority of Splashy goers will be from Durban and KZN and that. So there's the potential for, you know, like the scene in that, but the problem is I think there isn't enough endorsement of like local artists and stuff. There isn't enough of an actual scene here for people to become invested in it, if that makes sense. Like so yeah, it's tough out here in Durban, but I think there's a lot of potential, and I really think that it's on the up. There's been a lot more live bands pulling through. There's been a lot more events that have stuck out, and yeah, I think Durban's on the up and up. But until we get there, it's a sticky situation.
I think there's a conversation of venues being able to have sort of like the backline to accommodate bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if that gap can be bridged, then I think there would be a lot more success in Durban and in the live music scene in particular. So I think that's the one aspect, and like a lot of bands like will stay to their regular spots because they know that they like build up a rapport with them almost. And I think that's quite important. And if we can expand that, right, so that like more venues are also in this mix and in this loop, I think that could be incredibly beneficial, mutually beneficial for both the bands playing and the venues who want to accommodate these type of bands and stuff. So yeah.
You know, a lot of people will tell you all these, you know, different stories about what makes, you know, the Joburg scene good, what makes the Cape Town scene good. What would you guys personally say makes the Durban scene good, and like a scene where people should actually come through and, you know, jam, you know, be online at the same lineups as, you know, Rocc Lobsters and such?
So I think one thing about the Durban scene that we are already quite blessed to have is a set of loyal fans, like that know that, you know, you have to really pick and choose in the scene what's happening, and we know that if we go out and play a show somewhere, we know we'll see familiar faces. We know that we have a set of fans that, you know, will come out and watch us in amongst the new people. But I mean, it's always lovely as an artist to bounce from venue to venue and see the same people, you know, coming around. You can see you making an impact enough that people will repeatedly come and watch you. And because there isn't as much happening in Durban as there is in Joburg and Cape Town, I feel like bands can grow like a nice local following here, which is cool. It's a nice intimate setting, and I've been to several events in Durban specifically where, you know, it's a very intimate setting. You actually get to mingle with the band and, you know, get in there. But yeah, as we say, if we want to take that to the next level, we need to get the buy-in from the people that aren't regulars to these events and these lineups. You know, so like having events with variety and appealing acts and appealing marketing and appealing venues, you know, we need to have more like independent things happening. I think that's the way.
Just live venues as well. I'd say there's such a, like you said, there's such a I mean, from what I know, there aren't really many places in Durban that have a backline ready for you. You can't go and plug and play at anywhere here. And I mean, also we've got to bear in mind that there's a very big student culture in Joburg, Pretoria, Cape
Stellenbosch,
Stellenbosch, and that's where a lot of the heart and soul of like our South African jawling culture comes from, is like university students and stuff like that. And we don't have a student town in Durban. So
true.
Yeah, it's just a tricky. We don't have the facilities at the moment.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, I mean, Rocc Lobsters is synonymous for me with more of, like you mentioned, like a splashy sort of like festival type vibes. You know, I can't, just the way that you guys are and just the products that you guys are bringing out. You know, I'm thinking of like Ballito Pro, Mr. Price Pro, that sort of vibe. When it comes to literal venues, I only know of about 4 or 5 that are still sort of going, that are able to accommodate bands in Durban. So if you guys do play any of them, which ones would you say are sort of your favorite to sort of play of the existing venues?
Your venues, yeah, that's tough. I'd say Splashy Fen's definitely number one venue, or not even venue,
Like a festival,
number one
basically.
festival.
Yeah.
Ballito Pro, we were blessed enough to play Ballito Pro last year as well, and that
Nice,
that was quite cool as well. But in terms of venues,
Rest in peace, Domino's, I guess. I really appreciated the variety there.
Yeah.
Like, we went and jammed there when we were just starting out as Rocc Lobsters, and you know, the guys were really accommodating, and we ended up playing there like every month and closing off their whole thing. We played their last event, and like they had a little system put in place. You know, they made do with what they had, but they were really accommodating to the musician, and I feel that was a tipping point, because we always felt so welcomed and invited to play there. So like that was definitely a favorite for us. Yeah.
100%. And obviously with you guys having played, you know, Ballito Pro, you know, how do you prepare for a show like that? Because obviously I don't suppose it's the same as preparing for any other regular gig. What were the vibes with you guys going into that?
So the the Ballito Pro show was quite an interesting one. It was we were actually up at the studio, our studio. Shout out to Loop Evolution Records, by the way. We were up there recording our first single at the time, Koala. That is on all streaming platforms.
Shout out.
Plug our stuff.
But we were there, and it was a very like our mentor and producer A1 Wolf. He's really mentored us and showed us the ins and outs of the industry and how to kind of solidify a nice foundation before you get going and all of that. So yeah, shout out to A1. But for the Ballito Pro, yeah, we were up there in the studio just recording and getting some stuff ready for our first release, and he managed to chat to one of his buddies in the industry there, and he managed to slip us onto the stage. We weren't really supposed to be on there. But yeah, he spoke to the promoters, and they really liked our stuff, so they wanted to get us on for the proceedings we're going, and it was a lot of fun. So preparation for that set was pretty much nil. It was just like we had to go up there and play as it is. But preparation for other sets, we do a lot. We generally plan out a whole show, so it's not just practicing songs, it's practicing transitions and crowd interaction and so on and so forth.
You mentioned Koala there, a very brilliant single, and I feel like it's not easy to write something that could be, you know, as good as what you guys did. So I want you to walk me through, you know, the whole process of creating Koala and having it be the final product that we can get to hear right now.
Koala was an interesting one. It was pretty much a spur of the moment. It came out of nowhere. I'd personally been hearing a melody that had been playing in my head for way too long.
Nice.
That chorus bit, baby, won't you wait for me? That was like, I couldn't get that out of my head. So eventually wrote that down, got that into like a kind of solid structure, got all the input from the boys, and then we were in studio and we thought to ourselves, this could use a little something different, you know. So we chatted to A1 and asked if he would hop on it, and he was really, really excited to do that. So he hopped on there, and we decided to add a little bit more flavor into our first release, just to also kind of show the world that we're not going to be strict in our genre. We're not going to conform to, you know, how the status quo for like reggae alternative music is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we hopped on that, and there's actually we're in the process of remastering some of our first releases.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, the process with writing that was, it just kind of came out of nowhere, and then what happens is we all work on it together, figure out the dynamics and so on, and then it comes out. And we were actually busy recording Running at that time.
Nice. Yeah.
of the first version, which we listened back to that. And I was like,
Travesty.
It can't be that bad, guys. Come on.
No, it's that bad. It was our first time ever like tracking a song as a band. So that first rendition of Running, we hope that it's gone forever.
Yeah.
Hope that it's been lost somewhere and it's gone forever. But we have re-recorded Running, and
that's also out.
That's also out.
Shout out.
Yeah. Plugging our shit again.
But yeah, I kind of forgot where I was going with that. But
Yeah, so I think I just want to talk about also like our vision for like live performances.
Yeah,
and
for
stuff
sure,
like
dude.
that.
Go for it. Yeah.
So obviously coming back from Splashy now, we saw what it takes to be that like next level, that main stage artist
Yeah.
sort of thing, and there's this consistency that is like unmatched, unparalleled. Like you hear them next week, you hear them last week. If you heard them last year, they sound the same every time, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important part of being also like a live musician and like really getting to like the top ends of the upper echelons of performing.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And like being able to sort of see what makes the really good guys and people who are at the top of their field successful. It's really nice to sort of like get a peek behind the curtain, understand what's going on,
Yeah.
and then like pioneer our own way forward, right? Knowing what we need to find that sort of consistency. So it's really good. Like every time we play major shows and stuff, like
Yeah.
Splashy Fen, for instance,
Yeah.
it is big shout out to
Shout out to Splashy, yeah.
Yeah, every time we play things like that, we like learn so much. We practice so hard before, and then when we come out of it, we come out like with so much more knowledge on how to like do this whole music thing, you know.
For
So,
sure.
because it's not really a step-by-step guide, I guess. So
Yeah,
it's like,
true. You figure it out as you go. It's up there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really good, guys. I mean, obviously, from the bands that are currently active in Durban, if I had to start listing them, we'd probably be here forever, which we actually privileged enough to have so much talent here. So, which sort of like Durban band, or give me like 2 Durban bands that you guys reckon people should actually look out for, or that you'd enjoy sort of, you know, playing with?
Yo, that's so hard to choose from. Hey? There's a lot of people doing a lot of good things in the industry. I know Poster Boy have been.
Shout out Poster Boy. I was waiting for that. I knew that was going to come up.
I mean, the boys have been pushing in the industry. They've been doing the work. They've been putting so much groundwork down. So big respect. So yeah, they've been doing some good work. And then I wouldn't say, yeah, actually he does count as a Durban artist. So we've got a really good friend. His name's Ryan Botha. Really fantastic dude. He's got a lot of refreshing take on like the indie folk vibe, and his stage presence is also really good. So yeah, I'd say shout out to him as well.
he's straight out of Durban, but he's
Straight out of Durban, but he lives in
currently
Durban currently.
Joburg, so-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't want to identify as a Joburg person, you know. Neither would I. No offense, Joburg.
I feel, you know, that's one of my fears. You know, we're almost at the end of the interview, but it's one of my fears, guys. You know, to see such a really good band, you know, a band as good as you guys. What eventually happens is we get bands that come up and they do so well. You guys have already played Splashy, you played, you know, Ballito Pro, and then next thing they're leaving. They go to Cape Town, they go to Joburg. Is that sort of in the plans for you guys, or will you guys sort of, you know, stay here a little longer?
Well, we have big plans as a band. We want to always be able to return to Durban, but we actually want to start spreading our reach as a band.
You guys are leaving.
We want to leave.
Say it with chest, bro. We're leaving.
We are leaving.
Go on.
Okay. No, our honest plan is we wanted to go explore different scenes. So we wanted to take a trip down, make a pilgrimage to Cape Town, try and get a start there. We've already got some contacts. But recently there has been some source from an international dimension playing parts here. So our plans at the moment are a bit up in the air. Isn't what to do. You know, like, we love Durban as a base, and we want to be able to return to Durban and really add like the next level to the Durban scene.
Yeah.
But we feel like we need to go on a journey first to discover
For
that,
sure.
you know. Like, Durban is a really good place if you know what you're doing and you know who you want to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a nice comfort zone, and we really feel that in order to reach that next step, we need to step out of that comfort zone. But yeah, Jordan and Evan were blessed to do some work with a really, really prolific artist,
Nice.
Mr. Casey Lowry himself. They both played on the main stage with him, the Splashy.
Nice.
And there's other talks in the pipeline here, but we want to set our standards as high as we can, you know, because we want to be able to be constantly reaching for our goals, and like we want to push to that next level. I speak for myself that like I've come a very long way in terms of careers and
Yeah.
plans and life plans, and it all boils down to one thing. Like I want to be a musician, you know, I want to do this with every fiber of my being.
Yeah.
And in order for me to do that, I need to detach from the current comfort reality that I'm living in. And I feel like as a band, collectively, we want to take that step. And if that means leaving, exploring, you know, we're not living forever, obviously, never, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
Durban is always home, and it'll always be where we started.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, listen, guys, we've seen it happen before. We've had bands that come from Durban, they leave. Multiple examples, not even in just like the alt space, but hip hop as well. But like alt, you look at bands like Black Math who moved, you know, down to Cape Town. You know, you look in the hip hop, you look at guys like Blackie who left Durban, blew up in like Joburg or something, and then every now and then they come back. And the alts, we've got Volvodinia who were recently down here, a Durban band, but you know, they've been doing things internationally and they've been able to represent Durban in that way. So yeah, guys, I'm wishing you the absolute best in whatever the future holds. Are there any parting words that you have for maybe anyone that's been supporting you, you know, from day one before we close out?
Yeah, no, we have had a lot of support. Obviously, our friends and families and stuff. Like, we're always grateful for every single person who's ever come to a Rocc Lobsters show. Like, shout out to you. You guys are the people that make it all worthwhile.
Away, guys. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, social media handles, you know, how do we get in touch?
So we are on Instagram as the Rocc Lobsters. That's spelled with 2 C's, not R-O-C-K, R-O-C-C. And then you can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Amazon. All of
Everywhere, basically.
everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We got a
we've-
recently. Oh yes, actually.
big shout
Go
out,
for
big
it.
shout out to the Vabi filmmaker.
Yeah. We got our one friend Bunny directed our music video for us running. Please go check that out on YouTube. It is absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Is it cool if you play out with that? I'll just stitch it on to the end.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course.
Of course. That sounds good.
Yeah, big shout out to that crew. The music video, that was something special. So yeah, very cool.
That's really sick, and I obviously want to thank you as the audience for watching this episode and just learning more about the Rocc Lobsters with me. We're about to play out with their music video. What did you guys say it's called?
Running.
Where? So we're going to stitch that on right at the end. For all our episodes, do check out our websites. All the details are in the description. We are www.sledgeunderground.com, and as for myself, it's at Zwane031. Check out the merch. We've got a merch store running, sledgeunderground.store, and yeah, guys, check out, continue to follow the Rocc Lobsters. We're going to be closing out with the epic music video. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, it is bye for now.
Big love.
Away.
So many times I thought I heard you calling. So many times I thought I heard you say, where was the love we found? Don't keep it underground. I'm losing you, baby. Oh, won't you take my hand? 'Cause I miss you, darling.